Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today we have a very well-respected young actress with us and her mother, Michelle. Are you an actress too?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, secondary. I've kind of, because of Dee being on sets, I've kind of gotten more into the world of film myself. So,
Okay. All right, so yes, we have Delilah Hefner and Michelle Hefner. You go by D. How are you
Yeah.
guys doing today?
good.
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Uh, so kind of take us back a little bit, a whole lot of little bit. What really got you into movies and especially the horror genre? Because nowadays horror movies aren't particularly kid friendly.
Well, the very beginning, this wasn't even anything with acting, but this is just what made my mom apply me. I was always very dramatic and like put on my own little shows that I wrote in my head. So everyone said that I needed to be an actor, yada yada. And when I was like 6 years old, I
Hmm.
believe, she finally listened and applied me for some things. And I got this one thing. It was more psychological and it wasn't exactly horror, but it was more action. And
Was
we
it?
just kind of kept doing it.
Yeah. Are you talking about Connie?
No, I was
Yeah.
talking about the first
The
thing.
very first
The
thing she
very
did was a
first
proof
thing.
of concept
Yeah.
for a filmmaker in Chicago.
Yeah.
But then right after that, we
Connie.
ended up traveling to Virginia and she did her first feature film,
And
Connie.
that is very horror, but also
It's a
psychological.
psychological thriller
Yeah.
horror
Yeah.
genre, and she was six
Yes.
for that one. And
Okay.
that was her first feature that film that she did. She actually started filming it while she was six, but it was during the time of COVID. So due to locations, she came back to film additional scenes when she was seven, and she had actually lost one of her two front teeth.
Hey, I mean, life happens, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of unavoidable.
Oh yeah. Uh, so what was your experience on that first set? I mean, you kind of at a young age, I mean, was you just soaking it all in and kind of like, preparing yourself for what the future would hold for you?
Um, I was, yeah. Well, hard to
Do you
remember.
remember?
It's kind of hard to remember that far back. I mean, I knew I was definitely excited, especially on the aspect of seeing how movies were like actually made. I definitely didn't expect to keep doing acting though, but I'm really glad I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so we will get to some of the bigger projects, but there's actually a couple I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen Connie. Can you kind of give us a synopsis of what that one is about and just how your character plays into that movie?
You want
Yes.
to try not to
Yes,
spoil
I
it
got
though,
it. I
if you
got it.
can.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I'll try. Okay. So, it's about this girl, which is played by Ariana Harris. She's great.
Oh yeah.
But she's like about teenage years, I think. I don't know if that really matters. But she has these two sisters, and one is older, one is younger. I'm the younger one, and then she has a mom. And she has a dad?
Mhm.
Yeah. Can I say?
No, don't
Okay,
give it
okay, okay.
away. It's
Yeah.
just it touches on mental health
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
a horror twist. Well, I guess it's a horror film with a mental health twist.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a twist at the end.
Yes.
Um and it's like I said, we traveled to Virginia and that's the first time Dee worked with Ariana.
Yes.
And Amy Filbert is who the producer was and the writer for that particular project. And then Dee actually went back and worked with her another time on a non-horror project called Junior High Days. It's a fun Disney type series. But we can't give too Connie has a really good twist to it. So we just don't want to
Yeah.
give too much away.
I'm definitely going to be checking it out. So, uh,
It's on TV.
then I'm definitely going to be checking it out with my wife this weekend, and she's going to get scared, and I'm going to love it.
Great. Fun.
So let's fast forward a little bit. Now, one I did see you in the first harvest. You played Camille. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
you killed that. You killed it. You were phenomenal. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like there was three parts of that movie I really loved. the twists at the end and the acting between all the actors, but you stood out because your scenes you made that very believable.
Thank you.
And I mean, at a young age, there's people who can't even do that are older, you know. But being on that set and working with Paul and Holly and just Chloe and everybody, what was that like, and what experiences did you take away from that kind of helped your future as you continue doing movies?
Um, I on that set actually, I believe that was the first time I tried it. I learned to method act and to tap into emotions that have happened like in the past or like well yeah, it has to be in the past, sorry. Um
No, you're
like
good.
the emotions and stuff. And also just working with Paul because Paul is awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's his writing style and directing style seems to me like he pinpoints everyone to have a forefront kind of scene. And just when the first time I saw you on that screen, I was like, she looks so familiar. Then I was like, the Evil Three. And then I was like, oh snap, that's the same girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So going forward, you were again working with another phenomenal cast, but you stood out too. Now we're going to talk about Attack of the Corn Zombies. I love zombie movies. You know, uh, now I don't know if you guys seen any of my other interviews with anybody else who's been in that movie.
I have not actually. I've had a busy few weeks, and
Yeah.
so my time has been consumed with work and various projects.
Oh yeah. Now the I'm going to say you're acting again phenomenal.
Thank
Uh,
you.
a lot of people look at zombie movies like, okay, this is just going to be zombies killing people.
Yeah.
I kind of go a little bit deeper with movies, especially zombie movies. To me, this, yeah, you had your zombies that were doing what they do, but to me, it was more along the lines of a family horror movie because you had the two sisters and a mother, you had the brother and a sister, and then you had the mother and the daughter, and I'm sitting there thinking like, now some of them, I'm not going to spoil anything, did meet tragic ends, but I want to say that when you were playing the part where you were sick,
Hmm.
probably one of the best parts of the whole movie.
Oh wow. Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's so
Yes,
kind.
yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was good. It was really fun to film. And like SJ, phenomenal writer, everything.
Yeah.
I love Ecker Star so much. Um, I don't know if you've heard, but there also is a sequel to that coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, anything zombie, I know about.
Yeah. Well, really, with Attack of the Corn Zombies, I'm with you. It wasn't just a zombie movie, and without spoiling anything, I mean, I was a part of that film, and there was a lot of with every film, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. But there was that film was a labor of love, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
But just even being a part of the film and then watching it, there were part of the films that brought me to tears. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
on that particular film. So it did because of the different dynamics with the characters. It definitely was more than
yeah.
just a zombie movie, but it also was a good zombie movie. So it had that
Oh
going
yeah.
for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I can literally say I've never seen a zombie movie where it was a corn that turned people into zombies. And once I heard the title, I was like, I'm sold. But then once I saw the movie, I was like, dang, I need to talk to this entire cast. And luckily, I've talked to almost the entire cast. Not
Oh,
everybody though.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
so going from that set to just like future sets that you were on, because you are at a young age, you are able to soak up more than what, you know, us adults would soak up because we're like, hey, give us, something so we can do. You're like, at your age, you're kind of like at the point where everything is like a roller coaster because
Yeah.
you get to not only witness these horrors that would scare the crap out of most people, but you also get to be part of these horrors.
Yeah.
So is there one thing that kind of stands out, maybe one movie or a couple movies that kind of stand out to you to where it's like, you know, you were so into that character and then by the way you portrayed it, it came off and exceeded your expectations?
Um, I would say, honestly, probably the Attack of the Corn Zombies movies. I really, really put a lot of effort into that, and I'm not saying that I don't put effort into my usual work, but for those movies, I surprised myself with like the way I actually did portray the characters and some of the emotions.
Oh yeah. I mean, you were up against some powerhouses in that movie too. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you had a lot of people that like Joe Rosen, although a sub character, phenomenal dude. But Lynn Lowry,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We loved
Yeah.
Lynn.
you
Yes.
know, I mean, and then Anne,
Oh, I
I'm
know.
like,
We
Yeah.
loved Anne too.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you're on set with these, might as well say legends, you know, when you're standing there next to them and you're like, hey, I've been in this movie with these, phenomenal actors and actresses. What's your feeling as a child, as a young actor, not a child? I am so sorry, but as a young actor, uh, what is your feeling knowing that you can literally say you've done what a lot of people haven't done?
Um,
Well, and if you need to,
that's kind of
it's
tough.
a tough question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong
I
here,
will, I will, I will.
but well, I know you will. But I feel like when Dee's on a film set, she's doing what she loves, but she's also loving the fact that she's meeting new people and
Yeah,
making friends.
yeah,
So I think for her, it's more of that aspect than as far as, oh, I know you're honored to work with people, and
Oh,
I
well,
know that you've
yeah.
definitely like taken advice from some
Yeah.
like from Lynn, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah.
You know, Dee's been in 3 films with Lynn now, and we adore Lynn, and she's given Dee some solid acting advice.
Yeah.
So I feel like you probably feel fortunate to get that,
Yeah.
but you just like hanging out with people and
Yeah.
making friends.
Uh, let's kind of go back a little bit because you were on a film with Ariana Harris, who was on this show, and we when she was on, we kind of touched on, her age playing a thing of, like she's soaking it all up. And that, I mean, being a young actress in this field has to, especially the horror field, which is probably one of the hardest ones to be in because you don't know. I mean, most people might get scared, but the thing is my wife, by the way, she gets scared at everything.
I'm a chicken too.
Now that I know how they're made, it's not that bad.
But when you're dealing with like these horrors that like the zombies and just different creatures or whatever it is you're dealing with, do you find that sometimes it's hard for you to keep focus, or are you just always ready to be focused? And oh, she shook her head quick. She was like, nope.
I can be like joking around, like, and then the second they do action, I'm ready. It's not hard
Yeah.
to do that for me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's actually we've had people that are working on post-production sound have messaged me before, and they'll be like, I don't get it. Dee was just goofing off like crazy, and then all of a sudden action's called and she's just there.
Yeah,
And so she's good at switching to where she needs to be, and
for
so
sure.
is Ariana.
Yeah.
Ariana, yeah, because like just her, you'll want to watch Connie because
Yes, yes, yes.
she was 12.
She did,
And her performance
amazing.
in Connie was
beautiful.
wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right, we're gonna talk about this one right here, the Evil Three.
Oh, okay.
So my favorite of all time, Michael Myers.
Okay.
But my second favorite is Jason Voorhees. Leatherface is my fourth. Everyone's like, "Who's your third?" And everyone thinks I'm going to say Freddy Krueger. It's not Freddy Krueger. It's Angela from the Night of the Demons movies. She was
Okay.
creepy. But being in a movie that has these three iconic characters, you are now synonymous with every franchise that is in there. And I'm going to say it, I'm a little bit jealous. No, I'll just play it. But I mean, that's that's phenomenal because now when I say, hey, I've seen this, I've seen the Evil 3, I've seen Halloween, and I can say, D's part of that franchise or the Friday 13th. Being on that set and just knowing that you're, in my opinion, and just my opinion, probably coming into something that is way more organically brought together because of three different franchises. What was your reaction when you found out first that you were casting it, and then second, how did you prepare for the role?
Um, a lot of
Sorry. Well, I can tell you how you prepared for the role in case you forgot.
yeah, no.
We found because I gradually let her get more and more into watching horror films. So we found animated stories about all three
Oh yeah, I did forget about that.
franchises, and she watched the animated story about one about Jason, one about Leatherface, one about
And
Michael Myers.
now I love Leatherface.
Yeah, and now she loves Leatherface.
All right.
I have to watch the movies though, because cannibalism makes me so sick, but I absolutely love his story, but I just can't stomach myself to watch the movies.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I mean, when I saw the original, I was like, I was a child when I saw the original. I was like, nope, 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 nope. But
Yeah,
then,
like
oh yeah,
scared me. I'm a chicken though. Like I said, I'm
The first time she watched the Terrifier movies, she had to have me walk her to the bathroom, and she slept with a knife and a brick next to her bed for no 3. And every time we used to live in an apartment at the time, every time we were walking back to our house, and if it was nighttime, she'd be like, "Okay, come on, make a run for it, so he can't get us."
I was not, she's not even exaggerating.
I'm not.
As embarrassing as it is. I was literally terrified when I watched.
Well, yeah, it's terrifying.
I was terrified. For some reason, it's just the demeanor, his demeanor. It just, he nailed it. So yeah, she's embarrassing me here, but she's being totally truthful.
True, yeah.
Well, the best part is this is going to live on forever because it's going to be on YouTube.
I know.
uh, Actually, this is a question for you, Michelle. If so, being a mom that has your children in the industry, and you obviously have to be on set.
Yes.
Uh, what are some of your drawbacks from certain movies or certain characters that they play, and what are some of your pluses for the characters that they play?
Well, I mean, I feel like for me watching Dee's career from set to set and watching the different roles that she takes, I am the most happy when it's a role where she gets to grow as an actor and where she gets to have a new experience. And I think that that the new experiences is something she enjoys too. Like she was in a coffin once, and first she was scared, and then she was so excited afterwards, and she was playing in the coffin, and she's like, "Ah, I got to be in a coffin," and and just different experiences on set. I enjoy watching her do when she has an emotional scene and we're on set and I'm watching and she's legitimately crying. That's kind of difficult for me sometimes because I have to like shut my brain off and tell myself she's acting, even though she's got tears running down her face. That mom part of me just wants to like comfort her. And usually, and the older she gets, it's even worse. But usually, she doesn't even like me to watch her. So usually, if I'm on set, I'm kind of either helping at this point because they're people we've worked with before, or I just jump in and try to help, or I'm off in a corner with my laptop doing work and letting her do her thing.
I just don't like her to watch when it's more emotional.
Yeah, I get that because
you're not.
No.
Oh yeah. Let's go back again a little bit. You said earlier that you were learning method acting.
Yeah.
I'm going to say you nail each character. Everything I've seen you in, you've nailed it.
Thank you.
And I will admit, like I said, this was the first one I saw you in, and I was like, I even told my wife, I was like, look, that young lady right there is going to have a bright future, and here we are now, and you got a pretty, a pretty good resume going for yourself. Do you ever find that sometimes you have to turn down a role?
There were a few, and
Mhm.
it's mostly if something in the script or the story doesn't fit like my morals basically, which I know it's acting, but if it's that bad, sometimes I'm just like I don't really want to do this, and
Yeah.
it's just like don't do it because
Well, you
I
don't audition.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
audition. Yes.
Yeah. If it's
Yeah.
something that she's not interested in and she gets the opportunity to
Yeah.
audition either by somebody reaching out to us or if it's something that I see,
Yeah.
if she always gets first choice with me. If you don't want to audition, don't audition. But if you're going to audition, that means you're open to taking the role.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
uh, you guys are busy on the independent on the convention scene too. You know, I've seen some of the posts you guys posted. First off, you can rock a jean coat any day. Let me tell you that. You know.
well, thank you.
she made
I made it in one night. I had to stay up, sleep deprivation.
I was literally going through it, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, Lauren, that's my wife. I was like, Lauren, look at this coat. She comes over, she goes, I want one. I was like, all right, that's not why I called you over, but but no, you trust me, jean coats, you can rock them. So, yeah. So let's talk about another one where you're going to reprise your role of Camille for Sister Sullivan. Now I don't know too much about it. Paul's keeping it kind of secret, which is cool. But if it's anything like The First Harvest, it's going to be phenomenal because I'm actually getting my own copy of that movie sent to the house. So, you know, uh, so what's it like going to be revisiting that character for yourself?
It's gonna be pretty fun because I haven't done her in quite some time. It might be actually kind of hard, but I feel like I can probably get back into it easily if I
You just don't give
yeah.
any spoilers away.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll just
Yeah, hey, if it's any consolation, my wife is the same way. If she sees something before me, she's like, "Hey, this is about." I'm like, "Oh my god, okay." Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
pretty good usually about not giving away spoilers, but I know that Paul is being very tight-lipped about
yeah.
Sister Sullivan, so I just don't want to give anything away at all.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good thing. uh, so you get to return for. I'm about to say this same word. Return of the Corn Zombies. I just said return in the same sentence twice. Okay. But you're playing a different character.
Yeah, I am.
Uh, so going back on pretty much that set, but as a different character, do you see that maybe this time might be completely different, or is it like the same kind of vibes?
I already filmed that, and
Oh,
it was a little bit different because there was a different director, but like it was pretty much the same vibes.
Yeah, but as far as your character goes,
Huh?
though,
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry for misunderstanding that.
no, you're
Um,
good.
I mean, they were pretty different characters from
for
each
sure.
other, but it was pretty much like, I mean, it kind of had the same dynamic, so I mean, it was kind of easy
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like, well, with your character in Return of the Corn Zombies, whereas Attack of the Corn Zombies, she was very much a
I
child,
was little.
and her character was written that way. Well, with Return of the Corn Zombies, SJ wrote her, although she was still a child, he wrote her a little bit older, and he told her she had the freedom to play the character a little bit older.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it is a different character for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here's one of my favorite franchises of all time is Stephen King's It. And you get to play Georgie and Georgie's Return, a Stephen King film. Uh, you play Bubbles the Butcher Clown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to say the name pretty much speaks for itself, but if you can go into a little bit of detail without spoiling too much.
I mean, basically, you're just going to be a pretty creepy clown.
Yeah. That's about it.
All
A
right.
pretty creepy clown.
Yeah.
So while being a pretty creepy clown, did you draw inspirations from the original Stephen King's It, the remake, or maybe Terrifier, or where did you draw your inspirations for that character?
Um, kind of pretty much Terrifier. I like that one.
Oh yeah.
Watched it, but I know like
Just like the
guy.
clips,
Yeah,
and you see a lot of clips.
I
Yeah,
have.
she hasn't watched the movie because, like I said, I
I should
started.
basically at this point.
You should basically at this point, but I gradually let her watch more and more and more because I have less control over the content that she's exposed to. Because if we're at a film festival or
Yeah.
something like that, I they do viewings and they do whatever they do, and she's there. So
Hmm.
it's about time I just throw in the towel and let her have full reign on her viewing.
That's dangerous.
I mean, that can be dangerous because my wife saw maybe half of the first Terrifier, and then she was like, "I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into the detail."
it's
You were also casted as a young Carla in a version.
yeah.
Yes. We
Oh, go ahead.
filmed it so recently that it was so fun, so fun. Anything that has, I love everybody else in it. Don't get me wrong, but anything that has Steve Morris there, gonna be great. I know it. I genuinely believe that the as small as it was, the performance I had in that was probably my best performance I've had yet.
Hands, yeah, without a doubt.
Yes, it was emotional.
Yes.
Is all I can say right now without giving anything away.
Yes.
But being on that set and seeing, I mean, I don't think this gives anything away because it's horror. Seeing all the gore, it was really good. I like it. It was a fun one to be on.
So I take it just by the enjoyment you're having speaking about it that you love the more the gore, the better.
Yes.
So with your mother's permission, out of all the movies you've seen, what was the goriest movie you have ever seen?
Wow. Well, as much as I act in them, I actually don't really watch a lot of horror films. Um,
I mean, Scream, the Scream
I've
franchise.
seen the Scream franchise. I've seen the first Halloween, and that's it for films. I don't do horror that much. I mean, I like it, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I have a really short attention span when it comes to movies, so I don't really sit down and watch them. But
That's
I
cool.
would say out of those, probably one of the Screams.
Probably Scream 3.
Yeah,
I think that's the
probably.
one that you've expressed that, to me anyway, that you've liked the most. She watched Scream for the first time with Paul
Yeah.
after we had filmed, because you know how he feels about the Scream franchise.
Oh
And
yeah.
then she
Steve
watched the rest of them
Morris.
with Steve Morris and Andy.
Andy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with all the movies you got coming out, because it looks like you got 13 of them, you are a very busy young woman. So let me tell you, uh,
Yes.
out of all the 13 you got coming out and all the films that you already have on your belt. So here's a question I don't think I've ever had the chance to ask. At your young age, do you ever feel that at some point you want to get behind the camera and direct?
Okay. Well, not exactly. I don't have any interest in being a director, but thanks to Steve Morris, I had a tiny bit of experience holding and doing sound. Like, I wasn't doing all the button stuff because I have no experience with that, but I am interested in sound and like helping with gore a lot more.
Like
Yes.
SFX.
And for this, speaking of Steve Morris, his next retreat actually, he asked me if I would rather act in it or do like behind the scenes stuff. And this time I'm gonna be like fully behind the scenes.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, if
Yeah.
the more you learn, the better you're going
Yeah.
to be at the
Yeah.
craft. And there's again, I'm going to compare just to, things I've noticed in entertainment. Like you got your Macaulay Culkins and you got your, Blossoms and all them. I think genuinely right now, this day and age, the youth of America right now that are in the independent scene are killing it. Like all of you guys are knocking it out of the park. And it goes top to bottom. I mean, every single time I see a movie, it's like am I really seeing it for Bill Moseley? I mean, I love Bill Moseley, but I'm like, you got these younger people who are kind of doing it better than what the other people are doing, you know? So when you are at conventions and stuff like that, and because you are a younger, talented actress, when people come up to you to talk to you about your films and you show them the excitement that you have, does it ever take them back like, wow, you really are?
Yeah, a lot of people will ask me my age, and when I tell them that, they're like, "Oh, wow, you're really young." And like one person, this isn't really them asking, but this is just funny to me. One person thought I was 22 years old. I don't
Well,
know how.
D is very, I will say, so cons,
Yeah.
the first two cons we did, well, the first con we did, D was fortunate enough to the second day she was there, CJ had a booth right next to our booth. CJ Evil 3, CJ
Yeah.
Vecchio. And he really like took her under his wing and showed her like how to really put herself out
Yeah.
at the cons.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when she's at a con, she really talks like she is a lot older. She's very informed. She provides a lot of information. So she doesn't look like she's 22, but I can understand where they thought maybe her mentality level was older, because she definitely does a really good job. She was, an artist guest recently at the Milwaukee Horror Con, and that was the largest con that she's been a part of, and it was the busiest con that she's been a part of. And I helped volunteer because since I was going to be there anyway, they asked if I would volunteer, and so she did her booth all on her own, and she did phenomenal. So
Oh yeah.
Really fun. It was a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So funny how I came in contact with this movie. So this one right here, Motor City
Yes.
Nightmares. That's right where, I mean, that's right by me because I live in Michigan. So we were there and I was, just walking around and CJ had a prime spot. It was like right down the celebrities, right at the end of the celebrities. And I'm like, dang. And every time I walked by, I just kept seeing the three characters. And I was like, I got to buy this movie, but I want to go do what I need to do, And then when I finally got the movie, I went home same night. Well, I actually went to my, room with my wife, watched it, and I was like, "Damn!" I was really trying not to cuss because I'm trying to be respectful.
She's on indie horror sets. She hears everything.
And I live in my house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but being on this set for the Evil 3, I mean, CJ did put himself out there, so I can see how him giving you that advice, and I'm pretty sure you took it. But being on that set for the Evil 3 and getting into that character, what was your thought process? Because you actually had some, I mean, Eileen Dietz was involved with it. So you got these other big names involved with it, but you kind of took the forefront because all these other characters were just in it briefly. So what was your thought process going from beginning to end of this film?
Well, sorry, it was quite some time ago, so I'm trying to remember as accurately as I can. For the beginning, I guess I was excited. I think that was like my second film, right?
No.
That was it? My second film I done? Maybe?
No.
I guess I'm just
No,
dumb.
no, you're not dumb. You're young, and
don't
you get
know.
confused. No, it was you had done several films before The Evil 3. You had done it somewhere. They came back from
okay, we don't need to list them. I was excited to do, I mean, another one that's like with new people. I hadn't worked with him yet. And at the end of it, I was really excited to see the finished product and just really happy I met the guy because CJ's awesome. And everyone else on the set.
Oh yeah. So Michele, this is a question for you.
All right.
And this is a question I've never asked anybody because I've never had a mother and daughter duo on here. So I appreciate that. Thank you. You're breaking the mold here.
Well, she wanted me here. I asked her. So
I
Hey,
forgot
it's
about
cool.
that.
I respect it. So as a mother, what advice would you give to other parents whose children are trying to get into the industry?
Okay. Um, I guess the first bit of advice I would give is make sure it's your child that wants to get into the industry
Yeah.
and it's not something that you want them to do. We've been on not so much indie film sets, but we've been on commercial film sets before where you could tell some of the children did not want to be there and that it was not fun for them. So, I mean, my first thing is just make sure your child wants to do that and make sure that they're always having fun. It's hard work, but I ask Dee all the time, are you having fun? And she'll thumbs up me. If she's tired, she'll, maybe do this. And I'll be like, figure out what's wrong if she needs a snack, that kind of thing. So I say that the first thing is make sure they want to be doing it.
Yeah.
If they do, what we did is I just joined every Facebook group everywhere that had to do with film. And I started watching auditions. And then if a role fit, I would submit her for it. And it takes it takes a lot of time online scrolling for roles in the beginning. It takes a lot of learning, just like because Dee's done mostly self-tape auditions. She's only done a handful of in-person auditions. So it takes a lot of learning on how to get the setup right. You don't have to have anything fancy. I mean, so I wouldn't go out and invest in a lot of equipment to do self tape auditions. A ring light and a plain wall is enough in the beginning to get self tape auditions out there. We were fortunate enough to where she did a lot of work with Acrostar Films and they edit very quickly. So Dee was fortunate enough to have material for her reel pretty much right out the gate. And that's not always the case, but a monologue, a comedic monologue, a dramatic monologue, and have those done so that you can send those off. If they request a reel, you can send that and replace of a reel. When we started, we did backstage. We don't really do backstage anymore, but in the beginning, I felt like it was a good tool.
Mm-hmm.
We were also fortunate enough that there's a studio up in Chicago. It's called Film Diner now, but we got involved with it when it was NDDB Studios because of films she was on. They were members of the studio, and then they had brought her in to do some short film work there. And she got a lot of experience through the studio because people would just keep hiring her for short films. So she got a lot of experience that way. So I'd say in the beginning, you submit, submit, submit. And in the beginning, you may not get a paycheck, but you're gaining experience. And that's important. And you're
Yeah.
networking. Every event you go to, every film set, every premiere, everything you do is a networking opportunity.
You
Oh,
said yeah.
yeah. So there's one more thing I want to talk about, but first I want to ask you, Dee, what advice would you give anyone, especially in your age group, that's trying to get into the industry?
Well, you have to, first of all, you need to make sure that you really do want to do it because it does take work to actually give your like best performance. And it might seem like it's a waste of time doing auditions over and over just to not get them, but you're getting yourself out there and you have to remember that. And sometimes it's hard to, like, I can't remember that sometimes, but you have to remember that it's still like getting yourself out there and that you just have to keep submitting and eventually you will get something to, like, I don't know what I'm saying now.
No, but you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. It's you just keep auditioning, even though
Yeah.
rejection can be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you're a kid, especially, well, even adults,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, I keep auditioning, I'm not getting the roles. Well, then you start getting the roles. And then you start getting people reaching out to you for
Right.
roles. So it works if you are dedicated and give the time.
Uh, I would be amiss if I did not talk about probably one of the best TV shows ever made. You were in an episode of Chicago Fire.
Yes. Okay. That for me excited me a lot. I was kind of confused because I was being treated way higher than I was like at the time, and I'm still not even that like high up. But I had my own trailer. Like I was
Yeah.
um it was very fun to like have all of that like
Attention.
no, like
No.
I'm talking about like how like it was just really high level stuff
Hmm.
and like it was really fun to like get to have that experience. Um I don't
Yeah. Well, no,
I'm
I mean, no, you
rambling.
said it right though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
it it was her biggest budget
Yeah.
production that
I
she's
love
ever been
indie.
on.
Uh,
And she had her own trailer. The
Yeah, it was
crafty, as you could
crazy.
imagine, was insane.
Crazy.
And things like Dee's an independent
I love
film
indie so
actor,
much.
and so she's used to doing whatever it takes, no matter what, working through pain if she needs to, working through sleep deprivation. And like on set for Chicago Fire, the shoe was rubbing the back of her foot, and she's looking at me, and I looked at her, and I'm just kind of like, and the set teacher noticed and was like, medic, and they came over and cleaned up her foot and put like a wrap on her foot and stuff, and she's looking at me, she's apologizing to them, she's like, I'm so sorry, like, well, no, we want to make sure you're comfortable. So it was a different experience for sure.
Yeah, it was wild.
It
As
was.
uh,
indie gonna have to deal with that. Maybe put a band-aid on it. Duct tape.
Duct tape,
Duct tape.
gaffer tape.
well, I mean, from where I'm from, duct tape did fix a lot. So
It does. It
Yeah.
does. Well, it is not the lack. If Dee ever brought something to someone's
Oh
attention,
no,
they would
yeah.
take care of it. She just doesn't. She just sucks it up and keeps
Well,
going.
yeah. No
uh,
need to.
Yeah.
so we're getting near the end of the show. Yeah, I
Okay.
finally said that correctly. uh, I want to take a moment and kind of acknowledge the work you've done, everything I've seen you in, including what my wife has seen you in that she can sit through all the way. Because you're in a lot of horror movies. I mean, the first drop of blood, she's gone. But but I want to say that the world is your oyster. You have a very long career ahead of you. I I compare your acting kind of to a younger, like Bette Midler, maybe even a younger Meryl Streep, because you nail what you need to nail, and at the end of the day, it's like there's not a lot of people out there, regardless of who you are, that can nail these. Like every emotion they tell you to nail, you nail. You know, and I'm going to tell you that The First Harvest was one of few movies that got me on my emotions because I'm more of a straight blood and gore and rip his head off kind of guy. But the range you have is phenomenal.
Thank
You
you.
know, and I would say don't stop, just keep going.
I won't. I don't want to.
But I will give you guys the floor to plug your socials where people can or cannot reach out to you.
Okay.
Entirely up to you, and where they can watch your movies and see what you got coming up.
Okay. I mean, Dee is on Facebook under Delilah D. Hefner.
And then Instagram under like the same thing.
Under Delilah D. Hefner.
That's the same thing.
Yes.
Movies, some of them can be found on YouTube, Acrostar Films, but most of them are on Tubi and other things.
Yeah.
You can also just look me up and that'll probably have
Yeah.
some of them.
Well, yeah, she I know that like Bayview Entertainment is getting ready to get Return of the Corn Zombies, and once they have that, that'll be out on various platforms. Attack of the Corn Zombies is on Amazon. It Came From Somewhere is on Tubi. Connie's on Tubi. Bad Apples, which we're super excited about, that will be available this summer. It's not out yet. Grind, again, another one we're super excited about, that will be out this summer as well. I believe The Evil 3 is available on YouTube now.
Yeah.
I believe so. A version is in post-production. I'm not 100% sure when that'll be available, but we're excited about that one too. And yeah, and we're excited. There's rumor that's it's rumored that Blood Sisters might be back next year, and Dee would be reprising her role as Vangelica. So we're super excited about that, should that come to fruition. But yeah, and Dee is excited. We're going to be working with Jason Horton and the Mahal brothers. She's been cast in the Apex Predators Club. So we're super excited about that one that's going to be filming this summer. So she's got a lot of exciting things coming out, some premieres to go to, and some projects to work on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Before I let you guys go, I will say, Delilah, you are up for an NC-17 award at the end of this year, because we at this show we have an NC-17, we have an award show, and you are up for best child actor in a horror film for
That's
Attack of
so
the Killers.
Awesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And there is a group of us. My co-hosts are never here, but there is a group of us that we all sit around. We watch these movies, and then we start picking who we want to put in these categories. And I can tell you right now, I won't say it's almost a shoo-in, but I will say you got a very good chance, because there's only like three other people that are in it, and one of them didn't agree with one of the movies, and I didn't agree with one of the movies. So, you know,
Okay.
but you are definitely up.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and I did want to also, I'm sorry, I forgot about Perfect Soul. I can't believe I forgot about Perfect Soul. Yeah, she's
Perfect
excited.
Soul.
She'll be filming that probably over her birthday. Her
Oh,
last
yeah.
3 birthdays have been spent filming with Acrostar, so
No
it's
better
kind of
way
a
to spend them.
tradition.
No better way. I love them.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a good way to spend your birthday with people you know. Yeah. But we are gonna get ready to close the show.
Okay.
And Dee, I'm gonna let you close the show today.
Uh,
I normally just say everyone stay NC-17 and give the peace sign. Say whatever you want to say, just give a peace sign.
um, stay alive.
There you go. Stay alive. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.